Hey, que la que hay, mi gente? It's Rocky here from SpeakSpanishFaster.com, and today we're going to switch things up a little bit. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what is my daily language learning routine or regimen. What do I do daily to learn languages faster? Now, I would say this is a common question that I get from subscribers or students in my courses. They just really want to know what I'm doing, and I think it's good for me to do a video like this quarterly, maybe, because I do switch up my routine um, every now and then so that I can stay more consistent. So I highly recommend that you do the same, because if you do the same thing every single day, you're going to get bored with it if you're doing it for like a whole year and you never change the content you're consuming or the way you're consuming it. You're going to get bored and you're going to stop. And we know consistency is the most important part of learning any language. So if you can mix things up, and if it can keep you entertained, keep you focused, then it'll be much easier to stick to it. So, all right, keep that. And that's one important part of learning Spanish in general, all right, is to mix things up. Now, I have bullet points right here. So if you see me look down, it's because I'm looking at my bullet points that I have for this video, because honestly, this is a topic that I can talk about all day. And I know sometimes people complain if I talk too much or things like that. So I have my bullet points here to make sure I stay on topic and don't just rant on and on and on. So if you see me look down, that's why. My first tip that I would give is something that I do is to study as early in the day as possible. Now, studies have shown, maybe not exactly when you first wake up, but in the morning, if possible. Studies have shown that the best time to learn something for humans, because of the way our brain functions, is the late morning. So kind of while your brain is fresh in the morning, but after the kind of you've woke up and you're not just like, like still like half sleep. So you want to wake up, maybe kind of get warm, shower, do whatever you do in the morning, and then kind of get into your routine. You don't just want to wake up like, oh, what, Spanish? No, you want to take your time and you want to get into it. Do your morning routine, make your bed, brush your teeth, take a shower, maybe eat something if you eat breakfast, and then get into your Spanish practice. All right, so I always try to make sure that I'm studying Spanish or any language earlier in the morning when I know that my brain is fresh. Now, I know that's not a possibility for some people. Some people have to go to work early. So for those people, I would say just do it when you can. Maybe it's immediately when you get home from work. But what I found is the later you push it in the day, the harder it is to want to do it. So I know that if I push my Spanish practice till late in the day, like evening, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this right now, but I'm going to have to, I still make sure I knock it out. But late in the day is better than never. So if you can't do it in the morning, definitely do it later in the day. Don't think that you can only do it in the morning. You can really do it whenever you have time. I just think morning is better, and that's what studies have proven, that morning time, late morning, is better. All right, so now that we have the time, the next thing that so I like to break my sessions down into, I like to break study down into two different styles. Okay, first is focused study. Now with focused study, I like to use Pomodoro techniques, or the Pomodoro timer, or the Pomodoro technique is what it's called, but you need like a timer. You just put 25 minutes and you study, no distractions, cell phone, put it in another room, computer, another room. Try to minimize distractions and just practice whatever you're studying, Spanish in this case, for 25 minutes straight. And then after that 25 minutes, the timer goes off and then you take a 5-minute break. And then if you have more time, you could do another Pomodoro session, or you can just go on with your day. So I like to do at least one focused study, all right? So focused study is not to be confused with deliberate learning and natural learning, which are two things I talked about on this channel before. Now, deliberate training is a type of focused training, but so is natural training. So let me really quick just explain all the differences. So we have deliberate learning, you can say with Spanish. This is when I'm going to have a pen and paper. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be I'm deliberate in what I'm doing, and I'm going to be writing down the words that I don't know. I'm going to be using a shorter piece of content. I'm going to be listening to that content over and over, and I'm going to be, again, writing the words and phrases I don't know. That's deliberate learning. And that is something more beginners will have to do because they don't know as many words, so they have to really write down more words. So deliberate learning is a type of focused study. But we also have natural learning, which could be sitting down, watching Netflix. Focused is still a type of focused training. It's just more natural. We're not writing down every word. We are just consuming longer form pieces of content. And we're not pausing it. We're just watching it. And that's how we're kind of consuming. It's more of a natural way, kind of how we just watch TV in our native language. We're doing the same thing, but it's still focused because we're still watching it. So focus training can be deliberate or can be natural. But either way, you want to have at least one Pomodoro session of focused training. So I hope that makes sense. For example, right now, let's say for Spanish, since I'm more advanced in Spanish, then I would do more of a natural learning in a focused session. So I would sit down at this, like a desk just like this. I'll put on the Pomodoro timer for 25 minutes and I will read. Right now, my favorite thing to do recently, what I've been doing a lot, is reading my Kindle and listening to the Audible version of that same book. So right now, I think I'm reading, it's a book about the narcos in Mexico. But it is about that. It's called El Traidor, which is basically about El Chapo and the other cartel leader, his son, basically told his story. So that's what the book is about, but it's very entertaining for me. It's a topic that I enjoy reading about, and it keeps me focused, right? But this is a focused session, but it's still more natural learning. I'm not writing down any words that I don't know. I'm just reading along. Sure, there's going to be words I don't know. I don't really care. At least if I understand 95% of it, I'm good. All right? And I mean, think about when you're reading a book in English, because I know somebody will say, wait, you don't know some words in Spanish? Well, think about reading in English. How many times, if you're reading a more advanced book, do you come across a word that you don't know, right? Some people might stop there and actually look up that word, but other people would just say, hey, whatever, I'll use context clues, try to figure out what it means. But not knowing that one word is not really going to affect if you understand the story or not, right? So that is focused learning, all right? So to quickly sum that up, one session every day of focused learning, at least 25 minutes, okay? Just 25 minutes of focused learning. And that focused learning can be deliberate. If you're more beginner, you'll probably need a more deliberate type of learning where you're watching a shorter piece of content, writing down the words. Or if you're getting more advanced, you can do more natural piece of content where you can just watch a long form piece of content without stopping it, or read a long form piece of content, or just listen to a long form piece of content. So that's my focus study. Boom. Got that out there. All right. That requires me sitting down at a table. Now, the other type of study that I do is I call it chore study. So what is chore study? This is more of a passive learning. So how the first one is focused learning, this is chore study, more passive study. All right. Now I do this when I'm doing things like my chores. That's why I call it chore study. So let's say washing the dishes, walking the dog, taking out the trash, driving somewhere. Let's say it's a commute. Driving somewhere. All right, these are chores that I have to do every day, but I don't have to really think about what I'm doing, so I can still study Spanish. Okay, so I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll just put on YouTube on my phone, but I won't watch it. I'll just listen to it, and I'll wash the dishes. So there's really no limit to it because it's easier to consume. Sitting down and doing nothing is much harder to just sit there for 25 minutes, but you can easily, if I walk my dog 3 times a day, right, 15 minutes a day, and every time I listen to Spanish, let's say, then I wash dishes, takes me 10 to 15 minutes, all right, that's 10 more minutes, and then I commute, let's say 20 minutes. If you add all that up, that's over an hour of more Spanish that I can consume while I'm doing other things that don't take my mind away completely. Now, of course, sometimes you can't really multitask. We can only multitask in this instance when we're doing something that is really a habit, something that we don't have to think about doing. Washing the dishes, I just grab a plate, boom, 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 not really thinking about it, so I can really listen to what's being said. Now, of course, I wouldn't try to if I'm putting together a table in my house, I wouldn't try to listen to Spanish because I need my brain power to focus on which piece goes where. So that's why I call it chore study. You do it with things that don't require a lot of mind power so that you can use your mind power for listening, consuming, and breaking down the Spanish that you're consuming, and then your body can still do whatever chore. All right? So that's my current routine that I'm doing right now with the Kindle books. And Audible, I do the focus study, more natural learning, where I'm just reading. And then every day I do chore study, which is, this is more, again, natural learning though, because if you're a beginner, you might not be able to do the chore study yet because you won't be able to understand what's being said. Okay, so chore study is definitely more of a natural learning. You can't really do deliberate learning with that. So you have to do more of that when you get more advanced. But there is a way that you can do it. Let's say if you're still a beginner, but you want to do chore study, here's how you do it. All right. You take a piece of content that you've gone through deliberately and you completely understand, and then you listen to that while you're doing your chores. So you kind of take that deliberate piece of content and you bring it into your chore study. You don't introduce new content to your chore study if you are a beginner. If you're more advanced, then it doesn't really matter. You can always introduce yourself to more natural ways of learning. And that's why once you kind of reach that breakthrough, that once you go from being able to consume more natural content than deliberate, it's why it's so easy to see rapid results, because the amount of content you can consume becomes enormous. It multiplies rapidly, right? But I still think even when you get naturally good, get to the point where you're good enough to consume content naturally, you still want some focused learning there because you still want to be super engaged. Still use natural learning, but still stay focused. So I feel like I'm talking too much, so I'm going to end this video here. But if you found this video helpful and you like this style of video, you like me talking about more topics that are more theory-based, right? Not just so much, oh, this is how you use AR verbs and ER verbs, or here's some Spanish comprehension, but here are actual techniques and strategies that can help you learn Spanish faster, then let me know in the comments. Last but not least, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you then.